We have a massive report as Christian Koloko's NBA return is imminent, as Shams the Athletic revealed that Christian Koloko is gearing up a return to NBA action, and Koloko is deciding between a few teams, which includes the Toronto Raptors. So we're going to break down what Masai Ujiri has to do to bring back Christian Koloko, what's the likelihood after an entire summer of following this entire saga of Christian Koloko being with the team, being around the squad during Summer League, his agent speaking out, all those different stories, and now the competitors that he has to face up against Masai Ujiri does in signing Christian Koloko, because there are a few big heavy hitters in terms of teams looking to sign the former Toronto Raptors big man. So lots of stuff to dive into. Before we do, folks, again, if you want to stay up to date with everything regarding this Toronto Raptors team, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a single thing. But let's dive into the news. As essentially Shams has come out and revealed that Christian Koloko is finalizing a return to the NBA, and the Los Angeles Lakers are the front runners to sign him, alongside the Toronto Raptors, the Clippers, and the Spurs, sources have told The Athletic. Koloko is awaiting his clearance to play from the NBA's fitness panel. However, he is now eligible to sign with an NBA team. So this dropped late last night, and Christian Koloko, obviously, if you're not familiar, was formerly on the Toronto Raptors, was a guy, 7-foot shot blocker, athlete that Masai Ujiri was extremely high on, but dealt with some clotting issues and essentially wasn't able to play the entire last season. The Raptors, trying to facilitate trades, unsure if Koloko would ever be able to play again, ended up waiving him in regards to his contract, and now the return is imminent. And you saw there's a few teams listed on this list, and Shams went on to say essentially that sources said the Lakers, in desperate need of help in the front court, are leaders to sign Koloko, the 22-year-old former Toronto Raptors second-round pick. He has been deciding among multiple teams and is now finalizing a commitment on a deal to make his NBA return. So again, it seems like from the initial reporting, from what's going on with Shams the Athletic, that the Lakers are the favorites, but nothing is set in stone. Nothing is really 100% guaranteed in regards to where Koloko is going, but it does seem, as of right now, according to Shams, Koloko is leaning towards that LA Lakers destination. But he's not officially sort of finalized to return to NBA fitness protocols, but I don't imagine this report will be coming from Shams if it was going to be, hey, he's not going to get cleared or anything along those lines. Obviously, there's a chance that the health and safety last minute finds something crazy and Koloko won't be approved, evaluated in terms of his NBA return, but Shams reporting this indicates that all of the speculation, everything we've heard this entire summer, despite Doug Smith's best efforts to really shoot down a Christian Koloko NBA return, essentially he is returning very, very soon. And essentially, the Toronto Raptors have been linked the entire summer. We saw it, we've been following it this entire year. Christian Koloko has been at the Toronto Raptors Summer League games. He's been, his agent's been talking about his return to action, his return to form, and even spoke out, directly addressed, Christian Koloko returning to the NBA. Essentially, Koloko's agent saying the Raptors have kept very close eyes on his situation, and Koloko would have no problem coming back to the Toronto Raptors. So, essentially, there's been some arguments, specifically the most outspoken person in regards to the Christian Koloko situation has been Doug Smith, but essentially he's come out and tried to say that Koloko, since he was waived by the Toronto Raptors, would have no interest in returning to the team, but basically his agents shut that down, and now Shams is essentially putting us as a finalist for Christian Koloko. Now, does Christian Koloko return fit-wise? Because, again, I'm sure the Toronto Raptors would like to have a very, very promising young athletic prospect come back to the team, but does it make sense on both ends in regards to the potential fit? Because, as we saw, right, the Lakers are in the mix, who do need some center, do need some youth on that squad. Obviously, the glamorous LA market. The Clippers are there, the Spurs are there. What's going on with the Raptors? Well, let's take a look at Christian Koloko's stats, if you don't remember, because, again, it's been a while since he suited up for the Toronto Raptors. He's 7'1", 24 years old, essentially, at this point, but 3 points per game, 3 rebounds. A guy that blocks a ton of shots, is a lob threat out there around the basket, and, frankly, is just a dude that fits exactly kind of, the modern-day kind of big man. Even showed some potential. Look at the three-point percentage. 8% is ridiculously low. The free throw percentage isn't high, but what's taking them for a 7'1", just rim running center, that's a lob threat and stuff. The fact that he's taking them and now has had a couple years to really, I'd imagine, get reps up with that jump shot, right? If you're not able to play, in terms of aggressive intense basketball. I don't know what the specific regulations were in regards to his workout regime while he was out of action, but essentially, I'm sure he's been putting up reps in regards to shooting the basketball, getting some jump shots up, so that 8% could definitely be improved. But Christian Koloko was a guy that, again, showed tons and tons of potential. The stats are a little bit lower than maybe would be indicated, because again, he did play sparse minutes. We can see only 13 minutes per night, and got a lot of garbage time out there for some of those stretches, but still, in only 13 minutes at night, average 1 block per game. This dude is a rim deterrent, blocks a ton of shots, and can be impactful. But again, most people watching this channel, watching the Toronto Raptors, know Christian Koloko is good at basketball. Not 100%, a sure thing. He's going to be a star center out there in the NBA, but definitely has the potential to blossom into a starting caliber center. One of those classic rim protectors, and look like a steal for the Toronto Raptors in the second round. But does it make sense for a return for Christian Koloko to this Toronto Raptors team? Because we do still have a roster spot open. Masai Ujiri's been crafty. He's been, making signings, filling up this roster in such a way that this Christian Koloko signing could happen. Essentially, we brought in Bruno Fernando to be that 15th roster spot if Christian Koloko wasn't signed, but Bruno Fernando's contract is not guaranteed going into next season. So there is the option, there's the possibility of bringing back Christian Koloko still, but people are looking at center rotation right now because last season, it was fairly thin, especially before the trade deadline. We had Jakob Poeltl and we didn't have much else. Kelly Olynyk, yes, plays the 5 at times, but is more of a mobile shooting 4-5, but now we do have Kelly Olynyk, we do have Jakob Poeltl, and there's Chomche waiting in the wings to be one of those players to develop and grow for this Toronto Raptors team. I don't think there's a world where Chomche should be really factored in the discussion, at least for this season. Let him play for the 905. He was the 57th pick in the NBA draft, or one of the last picks in the NBA draft. So again, I don't think Masai Ujiri should be stretching about Chomche, but again, some people are saying, oh, there's more centers. It doesn't make sense in regards to fit for Koloko, yada, yada, yada. I still think Christian Koloko at that center position is kind of exactly the type of player we need, especially if there is potential at the jump shooting spot. Because, again, essentially when you have guys like RJ Barrett, you have guys like Scottie Barnes, Immanuel Quickley, you want centers that are able to sort of create floor space. And I'm not worried. I'm not saying this because Christian Koloko has potential as a jump shooter, but there's 2 real ways to create space, out there as a big man in the NBA. And obviously, there's the 3-point shooting, which there's potential there, but being a lob threat. Because Jakob Poeltl is a very high IQ basketball player. He knows how to slide in the pockets, get into that dunker spot. And while he's not usually like slamming things down, he can position himself really well. But it's generally a tougher pass to a Jakob Poeltl because you can't just lob it up there to him and, throw it around the basket and just be able to dunk it. The same way Luka Doncic does to a Derek Lively, to a Daniel Gafford, to these types of players. Whereas Christian Koloko, you don't need to be super pinpoint. You don't need to be super accurate to give him the basketball around the hoop and let him finish, because he's going to finish over the top of people, do these different things. So Christian Koloko is one of those rim protecting threats. He's mobile, he's young, he fits the Toronto Raptors timeline, and frankly is a guy that I hope signs with the Toronto Raptors. But again, the Lakers are thrown out there, and we know when the Lakers are linked, they're usually the team that gets thrown out number 1. So I'm not thinking it's a done deal, a sure thing for the LA Lakers signing Christian Koloko. I think Shams would have said that if it was a done deal, a sure thing. But the Toronto Raptors are definitely in the mix. They were the second team named, and maybe even if they were the favorites, if they were one of the school outs, it wouldn't get as many clicks if the Raptors were up there versus the Lakers. Shams knows what he's doing. He became one of the biggest analysts in basketball because of knowing how to play that game. But essentially, we'll see how whether or not Christian Koloko ends up returning to the Toronto Raptors. We'll break it down and keep it locked here at Raptors Digest. But you guys are the best for making it this far. Subscribe to the channel if you guys haven't already. I'm signing out. Cheers.